Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and I'm going to show you how to fix your extended cab door. If you pull the handle, nothing happens. In my case, the top is unlatched and you can hear it, but the bottom won't. So we're going to need a T30 Torx. Make sure you're using a Torx and not a Phillips. And we're going to go ahead and take out the top and the bottom screw here. And with those two out, then we're going to be able to just remove this piece entirely. Also, if you can get in towards the back, you can pull this towards you. So you'll just pull this away and then slide the handle off. And that might be helpful too, depending on which side is broken for the top or the bottom. So now we're going to pull away the plastic as well and see some rods down in here. So as we look in here, what we found is one of the rods has come off. And so as you can see, this has the green cap at the top of it. And it's just kind of wiggling and floating around. And so basically you have one that's operating coming from the top and then one that's coming from the bottom. So right up in here where I'm putting my finger, there's a little latch, and that's where this needs to go back into, and it's right about here on the inside. So we're going to go ahead and take this rod and move it back on over here and put it back in place. So I used a magnet for this. It was very helpful just to grab that rod and move it over. Something to note as well is it's very important that this is facing the right direction. So as you see, this one, as I zoom in here, you can see it needs to point forward, and it's kind of pointing to the side. So you may have to move that rod side to side, and there's a green clip that's broken on it that would hold it in place. And I'll show you a little more on that. But what you're going to have to do is twist it in order for it to go back into the front of the latch area. So looking from the handle area here, you can see, if you look down in here, you can see where this needs to go. So there's a little latch right here. And so notice how there's a little green clip that was left over from being broken. And so we're going to go ahead and move this, and here I've attached it so you can see if we zoom in here. Now that it's reattached, you can see where that goes back in. Of course, the clip's broken, so it's just going to come right back out. So we do need to replace the clip so it doesn't come back out again. So I went to AutoZone to get the clips that would work for the tailgate, and it's just a universal latch clip, but I'm going to tell you that those don't work. And so then I went to GM to get the original ones for that I used for the tailgate latch, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well, because these ones work perfectly for the tailgate. They look like they were pretty much the same clip, but they are also too big in the nose as well, so they will not pop into place. And I even tried filing some of these down to get them to go into that hole, and it's just not going to work. But the way that they would is that little point goes into the hole, and then you just rotate it, and as it rotates it, it clips onto the rod. And so I'll show you what it looks like installed, and these are easier to put in first, and then you rotate them and clip them onto the rod, and you'll see that in the video for the tailgate. But anyway, this is what the rod looks like down in there. And again, you got to rotate it. You can see how the clip is broken on this. And so we're just going to remove the remainder of that clip. Now, I found it useful to reach in with one hand like this, and then use the other hand to help guide that rod until it will line up with the hole. Now, here's what it looks like installed. And again, it's better to push the clip in first. That's the way it's intended to be used, but when it's on the rod, that's what it looks like. You can see we put it on the nose of the rod and then rotated the clip until it clipped onto the rod. It also helps to slightly move the handle back and forth, because sometimes you have to lift that lever up just slightly so that the hole lines up for you to push that in. But again, I could not get these clips to push into that hole, and I know it's tight on the tailgate, and it's better to put the clip in first. But at any rate, I could not get any of these clips to go into the hole. I think the hole's just a little bit smaller. It's probably a special clip. And the dealership does not sell the clip individually, so I was hoping the tailgate one would work. So since it won't, what I found most useful, see, as you push on this latch, you want to make sure that you get that rod back into its hole. So here we go, pulling down on the handle. What I found useful is basically just getting a little piece of baling wire. And a zip tie might also work, but we do have to put the latch back in here, so we want to make sure it fits on the door handle. But anyway, if we just put that baling wire around it so it's holding the rod tight into its place, then we just twist it with some pliers, and that way the rod is being held into the hole that we put it back into for the latch. Okay, so this worked out really well. You can still see the rod back in there, and you can see the baling wire just holding the rod forward. That's all we need it to do. We went through and trimmed off the rest of the baling wire that we didn't need. And again, since the handle needs to go back into this position, we do want to tuck these wires back down. So test it to make sure it works. As you see, when we pull this, it is moving the latch. You don't want the baling wire too tight, or it will keep the rod from moving up and down. So just enough to hold it forward. And so as you can see, the rod's there, it's in place. And so yeah, we're just gonna tuck this excess baling wire out of the way, and then we can go ahead and put our handle back in. And so this worked out really well. Again, probably a zip tie might work or something else, but we're just trying to hold that rod forward. Perfect. In the meantime, a little hack I'm going to use, I'm just going to take off the bottom latch here. I probably wouldn't do this if it was the top one, or you can just wait until the piece comes in. But as you can see, we have a top latch and a bottom, and this will hold just fine as the top one. But again, I don't recommend doing that. It's just something to show you if you were in an emergency. So we're going to go ahead and put the screws back in here to fix this. It was a little hard to line this up, so again, I just kind of lined up the top screw first, and then the bottom. Anyway, hopefully you have a little bit better luck than I do. When I went into the dealership, they said, sorry, it's not serviceable. We don't sell that clip. It has to be the entire latch if you're going to replace that. And so I tried the tailgate one, but couldn't quite get it to pop in. So anyway, now I'm just relaxing and trying to enjoy the rest of my weekend. Hopefully this video helps you. And if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. I have a whole playlist that I've made on this truck and some other trucks as well, and it has all the videos that are similar to this. But put in the comments what you did to fix it, and let me know if you do find a clip that does work. Right now the baling wire seems to work. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, guys.